Good evening. Good evening. I just want to thank everyone for being here today. My name is Evangelist Pamela Edwards. It is my assignment to cut.
Not anymore. Yes, I was a broken woman. Yes, I didn't love me. Yes, I decided to settle for what wasn't best for me. Dear mama, I wish you would have showed me. Dear daddy, I wish you would have loved me. Dear mama, I wish you would have showed me. Dear daddy, I wish you would have loved me. Show me how to love, show me how to care, show me how to love that woman over there. Show me how to love, show me how to care, show me how to love that woman over there. Enter into the world of not knowing.
Greetings. Welcome, everyone. My name is Evangelist Pamela Edwards, and I'm a domestic violence advocate. And I just want to tell you a little bit. I want to tell you a little bit about my story. Let me tell you a story. It was around about 2014, and there was this woman. We'll call her Shira. And Shira would, often tell me that she was tired and things wasn't working out the way that she had expected them. You see, Shira was married, and she was married to a dominant male who had narcissistic tendencies. But at that time, she didn't know anything about narcissism. And during that duration of the many, many years of struggle, she lost herself. She became sick and ill in the hospital, even to death. And the doctors told her that she was lucky to be alive. At that point, Shira told me that something had changed in her, like a switch had went on. And she tried for many years to remain happy, but it never was quite right. That there was always something off. I want to bring your attention to something that is called the power and control wheel, and it is what Shira used to diagnose what was going on in her life. You see, there's eight slices of pie on this wheel, and each one represents a act of domestic violence, whether it be physical or mental. I'll share a few. And one, there's using intimidation. That's one slice of the pie, and basically that's destroying property and abusing and displaying weapons. And that's just a few. You have to research it or look on Facebook under Shayna's Lady Behind the Mask page, and you'll see the will. And there's using emotional abuse by putting her down and making her feel bad, and using isolation, separating her from her family. She shared that a lot. And minimizing things, blaming her for things that other was he was doing actually, and using the children. That's a real stronghold that abusers use, are the children. They use the children against them as though they would be taken away. But Shira said this was the biggest one for her, using male privilege. As the woman was born as a weaker vessel, and she was made to be servant unto the male, as a God-given authority that because she was born. And somewhat is true, but not in domination. And then there's economic abuse, and that was another one she talked about. She had to depend on for everything. And I spoke with Shira about this. She was distraught, and her life had gotten so bad that many times she wanted to die. So the story of the power control will is the story of abuse. And Shira's story is one that many people will go. We have women, 48.4% of women have been psychologically abused, as well as men, 48.8. At least it's one partner. So Sheila lived a life of complete domination. She had lost herself. She became so passive, sick, ill. Self-esteem was so low that she didn't even recognize who she was. It had gotten so bad that she had to leave that marriage with only what she had, with everything she had, with clothes on her back, because it got that detrimental to her. Emotional abuse. I would say we would understand it as manipulation. The desire to dominate and control another human. And it's not that way. You should not seek to control or dominate anyone. But in Sheila's case, this was her life. So in 2019, Sheila left that marriage. Went through months and months of things and still there. And she rose. She didn't rise. She formed a non-profit called Evangelist Corporation. She made a feature film called His Control, which is her life story. She launched a cosmetic line. She launched an international ministry. She did all these things after abusing businesses, relationships. You see, the relationship was one of, if you know anything of the word, of manipulation. And manipulation is as witchcraft. It was a trick of the enemy to keep her bound and not to fulfill the destiny of her life. I tell you this, that was the best thing that could happen to her. No, her circumstances that she lived
Not anymore. My toxicness will stop me from loving myself or trusting others in my peaceful place. Not anymore. My lack of post-trauma is going to stop me from my future growth. Yes, not anymore. I know I'm powerful. I know I'm overcoming. I know I'm a positive. I know I'm loved. And yes, not anymore. I'm dope. Dedicated to other people's empowerment. I love my dopeness and so should you.
I'm on mute. Nobody told me you couldn't hear me. Shame on y'all. I'm gonna start over. Y'all could have told me y'all couldn't hear me. I was all the way on mute, sitting here just a token. It says it's pouring. When listening to the rain beats on the window, I remember the amount of pain you caused, the amount of heartbreaks that were pacing my stove, still ringing the bell when I trigger my arguments. All I knew was pain. My pain ran so deep of my past, feeling as if I only was a screw toy because I didn't even care about myself. Childhood. The feelings of not feeling wanted, not feeling understood, and not feeling normal at all. The rain used to remind me of sweet sounds and peaceful spaces. Not the rain just reminds me of how many times I feel sad, and it reminds me of the heartbeat that's never going to be the same. Not knowing my worth, not loving on myself because me a ray of pain because I settled for the wrong things. Many times the situations start with lovely dreams and special promises, and of course the things of hope that they were not the same. Same as many others, different loves. Before that promises they wanted hurt. I will treat you right. I will not do you as what they did you before. I remember the smiles before the pain, and I remember the calm before the storm. I remember life before. I cannot be that anymore. Now it's time for me to move on from this afterthought of pain and heartbreaks and the struggle of me, just my past. But what I was saying before I was actually on mute is that unfortunately I guess Pam got kicked off and she was talking about the different things of domestic violence. And a lot of times we forget that it starts with you. You know, it starts with you realizing your worth and realizing who you are and your ability to know that you are worth more than anybody else can ever imagine. Like, the only person that can put a price on who you are is you. A lot of times we forget that. We forget that what our value is because of things that we dealt with in our childhood, things that we might have had happen to us, and we forget that we didn't heal from those things and we carry that to adulthood. We carry it to whereas it's just a part of us, and we got to remember to let that baggage go. You got to remember that it doesn't have to be what represents you because that is something you went through. We all been through the cycle. We've all had some type of abuse happen, and it might not been as rough as the other, but you've had somebody that called you out your name. You've had somebody disrespect you when it wasn't supposed to happen. You've had somebody done something that was not okay, and you might have didn't say anything, and you might have felt some sort of way. But you got to remember where your boundaries stand. You got to remember what part of you and who you are and what you stand for. Sometimes we forget that we place the values of what people and how they treat us. We forget those moments that we control it. We don't let them control it. And when we deal with people, we give them so much control. Sorry, that you forget that you can set that tone and say, no, this is not okay. And this is not is respectable for me. And a lot of times we forget that because we settle for certain things because we looking for love in all the wrong places. We are thinking of, oh, well, if I don't do this, then they're not going to like me for that. But you got to like you for who you are, regardless on what they feel. Your boundaries, your peace in your body. A lot of times we forget that we can say no. We can say we don't want that relationship. We can say no, that person's not going to disrespect me, family and all. It can be your mother, it can be your sister or your brother, your cousin, whoever, somebody at the workplace. But you got to learn how to set that boundary and be able to stand up for yourself. So many times we forget that we have words that have power. And that's the thing. Power has words, and if you don't use them, how can they be as strong as they're supposed to be? So many times, a lot of people get into relationships because they forgot the values of who they are. They might have been in other relationships that made their self esteem go down, or they might have been in situations that caused them to think less of themselves. But you got to remember who you are and what you stand for. The reason why I put this conference together is one, it's Domestic Violence and Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So why not have people speak up about either their domestic violence or be able to empower others about domestic violence awareness? So many times we forget that there's a lot of people dealing with a lot of things that they don't talk about. They might have dealt with it 30 years ago and still not talking about it. But what's crazy is that it's still going on into that relationship that they're in now. And they just think they have it buried in a box, but it's still there. That's why I create Sheena Master Motivation. And this is why the power in your voice is in place. And this is why I created the I Speak conference. It's about you speaking about your survival, your overcoming, your valuable you, speaking out about who you are and what you stand for. You know, we got to remember to stand for what you feel and know that is right. Don't do it to fit in. Do it to know that your value and your words mean something. Know that it is about you and just being able to stand in command for what's right. We have to remember that, you know, your words mean something. But if you're not putting it to work, how is it going to have value if you're sitting there in silence, if you're sitting there being quiet, if you're sitting there and not letting people know that you stand for something, that you have value, that you represent you and you have boundaries? Only person that can set those are you. You set the tone for everything that goes on around you, your peace, your faith, your happiness, your love. Nobody else sets those tones. But if you can't prepare to be there to stand for you, they're going to walk all over you. We need to get educated about breast cancer. For the first time this year, I've actually got my mammogram. It wasn't fun, but I'm going to definitely say make sure you're going out and you're getting checked and you're understanding what's going on. If you know somebody in your family that has it, or you know someone that's close to you that had it, that didn't get detected early, make sure you get your checks in. Make sure you're understanding what's going on, because cancer, no, domestic violence is a joke, and it's so awareness is something we need to get educated on, something that we need to make sure that we are checking in and getting the info about. And I'm sorry, guys, my throat is being a little raspy and crazy today because my sinuses want to be crazy. So I'm going to read the other poem. Hopefully, my other speaker will be here soon since my first one wasn't able to finish off. But I appreciate her for coming. It was a pleasure to have her here. You know, in the technical world, things happen. So we going to keep it going and keep it doing what it do. So this one is called Hold On. Today, I question myself. Today, I question my love for myself. Today, I question my strength. Today, I question my faith. Many times we sit between these four walls and we are contemplating suicide because we feel less than garbage in the street. Many times we sit in our own mind and think of all the words that we have said to you when someone has been putting you down for years. Many times we are fighting low self esteem because people have put us down since childhood. Many times we are fighting depression because of the past and present trauma that we have not healed from. Many times we are fighting and questioning our faith because we've been in the storm, the rain, and the whirlwind. A lot of times we are not sure if it is going to ever end. We carry all the pain that have been inflicted on us, or the pain we have allowed to hurt us through this place called life. We have allowed ourselves to carry the baggage when we need to let go of all those hurt, fears, disappointments to get unstuck from your past. The moment is now to remove yourself from your past, unplug from the pain, and create a new chapter to your story. This is what faith looks like. The moment is now to remove yourself from your past, unplug. Do you hear that? Unplug from your pain. Create a new chapter to your story. Create the new chapter. Create a new chapter. It can only bring you new joy, peace, and happiness. This is this is what faith looks like. Moments of when you no longer allow the darkness of your past to no longer bond you to the negativity. Allowing your body and your mind to soul to heal for the pain. Moments when you can be transparent to others in your scars. You have and then used to ways to heal others through their pains. I will no longer hold on to the pain that was holding me back from being a better version of myself. I will no longer hold on to the pain that stopped me from loving myself and knowing myself. We can win this fight together. No more holding on to the pain of my past. So I hope y'all listen to that. No more holding on to the pain of your past. No more holding on to the pain of your past. How many times have you feel that you sat and hold on to things that you shouldn't be holding on to? How many times did you forget that you didn't heal from something that you have put into a box and just thought that, hey, that's going to give me comfort? You have to stop holding on to that past. You have to stop holding on to the things that are not doing you any good. Many times when you're holding on to those things, all it is doing is negativity that is bringing towards you that you haven't healed from. And you wonder why there's so much chaos. So much chaos is taking over and wondering why your life is not getting any better. What are you doing about it? What are you doing to change it? What are you doing to fix it? Like I said, this is about awareness and remembering that if you're still carrying a mask, to then work on it. Don't put all the things that happened to you on the person that did what happened. You have to take your accountability. You have to be accountable for the part that you played in it. So many times we forget that we played a part. We played a part in the reason of why some of that situation happened. We did. We played a part and we didn't remember the values of who you were. You didn't show up for you. You showed up for everybody else but yourself. How does that work? Remember that you have value. And so while we're waiting, I'm gonna take a break, play some music. So I have another guest that's supposed to speak at 6:30. Let me go check to see if she's in the building. And y'all can just vibe out while I'm waiting.
Not anymore. Yes, I was a broken woman. Yes, I didn't love me. Yes, I decided to settle for what wasn't best for me. Yes, I was in a toxic relationship. Guess what? Not anymore. I have grown from the broken pieces. I have learned to love me when no one else loved me. I have learned that I will never settle for in my life or my peaceful atmosphere. I have learned the difference between love, lust of a good relationship. Yes, I wasn't perfect, but I learned to work on my mind, my body, and my soul connections. Yes, I have allowed the wrong spiritual around me. Now I've learned about the not allowing the negative energy around me. Yes, I've been down the road of destruction. Now I've learned how to not move by emotion, but by the spirit of my faith and purpose. Not anymore, my fears will not keep me from being a better version of me. Not anymore, my toxicness will stop me from loving myself or trusting others in my peaceful place. Not anymore, my lack of post-trauma is going to stop me from my future growth. Yes, not anymore. I know I'm powerful. I know I'm overcoming. I know I'm a positive. I know I'm loved. And yes, not anymore. I'm dope. Dedicated to other people's empowerment. I love my dopeness, and so should you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the I Speak conference. And I have my second speaker in the building, and I want you to give her a warm welcome. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, beautiful. Sorry, I was a bit late. I had to get set
It's
up,
all
but
right.
thank you so much for this opportunity.
It's okay. So the floor is yours. I'm just the host. So it's all yours, my lady.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Colita Willis. I am a mother, author, um, CEO, and founder of a non-for-profit named Laugh Anyhow Incorporated, and also the owner of Show You Right Boutique Incorporated. And it's a pleasure to be here today. Um, I just want to give honor to the beautiful Shayna Gordine, who's always extending her platform to myself and others to use their voice and their talents, and also networking and business and so forth. Um, Also, I want to thank all of you and everyone who is joining in today on this live. And I want to give honor to those who have battled, who are battling, um, and who have endured a battle and transition of breast cancer. I also want to uplift those family members as well who have lost loved ones during during that hardship. So I want to extend my love there first. Secondly, discussing I I have personal um, connection with this because I've lost loved ones um, that endured domestic violence. So this is personal for me. And so I want to start off by saying that the first sign that you see that shows you uncomfortability, it shows you disregard of your feelings, it shows you possession, a possessiveness, is a sign of abuse. And there's mental, there's physical, and there's sexual, and there's verbal abuse. So we're going to start off with the 5 emotional signs of abuse. A person who shows emotional abuse towards their victim, they're hypercritical or they're judgmental about everything that they do. That's the wrong color. Why you cook it that way? It's too hard. It should be soft. Why is it soft? It should be hard. I don't want that. I said this. Those are signs. Another sign is they invade your privacy. There's no boundaries. They go, do, say whatever it is that goes above and beyond the limit. Excuse me about that. Another sign is possessiveness and controllingness. You have to do what they say, when they say, how they want it done, in that order. There's always a controllingship about it. And your feelings never matter. That's another sign. They are dismissive to your feelings. You may be feeling sad. There's no concern. What you crying for? You might as well wipe the tears. Don't nobody care that you're crying. You could be happy and excited about that. And nobody cares. Who cares about that? Stealing your joy, stealing your happiness for things that uplift you. Those are signs. There are 3 stages involved in domestic abuse. And these 3 stages come with phases. They come with phases. So what are the 3 stages? Number 1 is the tension building phase. That means they build up their anger to a certain level so that they can have a reason to be forceful. The second phase is the acute or crisis phase. And that's when they go off. You know, that saying when somebody says, all I see is red, or I just blacked out, that's where they're at. So the extent of how they will harm you doesn't even matter at that point. And then after harming you and hurting you, there's the third phase, calm and honeymoon phase. They want to nurture you. I'm sorry. I'll never do it again. You made me do it. That's that calm honeymoon phase. So if you have never spoken out, you've never, seeked help, these actions become more severe because there's no intervention. The abuse increases over time. So you go from, he slapped you, he grabbed you by your hair, he pushed you, to now you got a black eye. You got a broken leg. It intensifies. It's never going to go backwards. It's only going to go heighten up. And so at this point, you still can leave. You still can leave. Even when it seems like, okay, I've hid it, I've suppressed it, I've made excuses for it. I've told everyone there is nothing that's going to make me leave him or her, because women can be abusive too. And we'll talk about that. So nobody's going to ever listen to me. Nobody's going to help me. Not true. Here's the first step before you even seek to those heightened places. The first thing you do is you call out the behavior from the first time. What you said to me was very disrespectful. You made me feel unworthy. You made me feel uncomfortable. You crossed the line. You went too far. That's how you call it out. Use clear language. Demand the behavior to stop. I don't have to tolerate this. I'm beautiful. I'm smart. I am worthy. So I don't know who else you told that to that believed you, but this is not the woman or the man who's going to sit here and listen to you belittle me. And still remain calm. If you can. Somebody like me, I might not. I might be on 10 because, I don't have issues with, somebody making me feel like they the only one in the world that I got. No, those are not my issues. So I might get stupid. But if you can, remain calm and stern. And stern. And then you set the boundaries. You set the boundaries. When you talk to me, I need you to talk to me with respect. If we having an argument or disagreement, don't get loud with me. We can be respectful and disagree. My privacy is my privacy. Don't pick up my phone. Don't just come barging into my house. I'm in the bathroom. That's my privacy time. You have to set boundaries because they will cross them. If it's not even worth you allowing someone to get away with it the first time, walk away. Walk away. If these are issues that you've had from your past relationship and your relationship from the relationship, right now, this is not where I want to enter. Walk away. Walk away. In the relationship right there. Some are not strong enough. Some feel needed. I can help them. I can change them. All they need is a little this and that. All they need is someone to guide them. All they need is somebody to show them they care. All they need is to go to church. All they need is for me to pray. Sometimes it's not for you. That's it, sis. People pleasing. Sometimes it's not for you to deal with that person. They're not your ministry. Move, sis, out the way. Move, bro, out the way. They got some issues. And you are not the one to lead them to the deliverance of them. Advise them to seek help and walk away. A narcissist abuse is minding. It's controlling of the mind. So they seem so perfect at first. Everything that you want in a woman, everything that you want in a man is what they clothe themselves in. At first. And then the layers come off. And they show you who they really are. So you are so stuck on the person that they showed you from the beginning stages, your mind won't allow you to see who they really are as they shed their clothing. So you're now doubting that the abuse even took place, no matter if it was mental, verbal, or physical. Then you start cover it up. You hide it. That because girl, we always talk to each other. Or, no, she just like that. She get over it. That's the smear campaign. But then really you feel isolated because now you've made so many excuses that you hid that from everyone and yourself, that now you don't know if you can even come out with the truth. So now you isolate yourself, and it eats you mentally. And so from there, you have trouble making decisions. You become unstable minded. And then you feel that you've done something wrong. You've done something wrong now. So now it's, well, if I never did this, then he wouldn't have never did that. Or maybe I shouldn't have said that because that wasn't the way that I should have said it. I know how he is, or I know how she is, or that I responded the wrong way. Excuses, smear campaign. Now, emotional abuse, that is when victims, they numb out the emotional abuse. They numb it out. They take antidepressants. They detach themselves from even knowing that it's really reality that's taking place of the abuse. So they pretend everything is fine in their mind. And sometimes you are afraid because you may have been the strong one of the family. You may have been the one that everyone calls and depends on. That, oh no, they can't see that this is happening to me too. I'm the one who always tells them they don't got to deal with it. I'm the one who's always giving them advice, telling them to have confidence in themselves. How could this be happening to me and I'm allowing it? Emotional abuse. Acts, even to the family mascot, even to the family strong one. Why do victims stay with their abuser? In most cases, it's because they threaten them to a severity where that the threat is something that can be reality. It's a threat that will happen. It's a threat that you've seen them threaten you with something before, and they actually did it and they went through to it. So now the threats come more and more intense, and they become death threats. They go from hurting you, I'll do this, I'll do that, to, I'll kill you. That's number one of the reasons why the victim stays. Mental illness and verbal abuse. Staying in an emotional and verbal abuse relationship, it can take on your mental. It has long-lasting effects. So even as you have took yourself out of that relationship, if you've made it out of that relationship and you took yourself out of the circumstance and you are walking into a new life and new direction, you may have some residue that have walked out with you because you sat in that for so long and you never seek the help that you needed. So now it can cause depression, anxiety, maybe suicidal thoughts, sometimes even sickness in our body. It can cause pain to alleviate in places, cause migraine headaches. Emotional abuse can become internal. And so we need to be mindful of that too. Things can trigger, you being in a new relationship. Somebody might be so much of what you always wanted and needed, but because you dealt with this last person with so much abuse, now any form of looking like where you was can create a mindset and a set off. Someone telling you, no, that's not what I want to do, in a calm state. But you may have been in a relationship where all you heard was no. You got to reevaluate. I just turned into this person that I needed to get away from, never wanted to see ever again, never wanted to meet another person like them. Now you have, that can happen. Also, you may be so calm and passive and have been so isolated for so long in that relationship that when you move on, one sign of yelling, loud talking can cause frightened tension, may give you the shakes. Those are some residue things that can leave with you out of that abusive relationship. And let's talk about some red flags of narcissists. Number one is they have a lack of empathy. Anything that shows love or affection, whether it's touching or even if it's words. How was your day today? How are you doing, beautiful? Oh, my day was such and such. I don't know. Don't ask me nothing right now. That's a sign. And it can be manipulative because now you go break down in a cocoon and it's like, why are you acting like that? You asked me at a bad time. I was having a bad day. I didn't mean to take it out on you. You just asked me. Just don't ask me stuff like that because I'm already mad. So it's to flip it and make you think that what you were doing, being caring and concerned about your mate, was wrong. Victim behavior. Pay attention because some people you will never know. But if you can listen to someone conversation, but watch their body language, it can also tell you something. And so voices, the frequency of voices when you're talking to someone can also be a sign. Their low self-esteem. You see someone who's so low in self-esteem. Something is going on. Something is going on. Someone who always wants to cover up. You never see a shoulder, an elbow, a knee. They're always covered. They're always covered. That can be a sign. Someone who results in self-sabotage. That's another sign. Feeling their unworthiness. Those are signs. Someone who talks suicidal. That's another sign. So we pay attention to those signs. And then some people get PTSD from being in those abusive relationships. So we have to watch for someone who has now become traumatic, that their trauma has now become a response to their endangerment. That's another sign. Bipolarism. Bipolarism comes with some abusers. And so when you see that, even from the beginning, that's a sign. And you just acting one way, now they're acting another. Like just 20 minutes ago, you was in one character, and now you just flipped to something else. Like that's not normal. That's not normal. Some people have been through so much, even from a childhood, that it has followed them into adulthood. So that when they get into relationships, they cannot control those effects, and it plays itself out. Sometimes you got to get deep with people when you meet them. What was your childhood like? Your relationship with your parents, or if you had parents, you may have lost, some may have lost their parents at a young age. How they dealt with that. Who were they raised by? If they were raised anybody, were they in adoptions agency? Were they in group homes and stuff? Have they been sexually or physically abused even as they were younger? That plays out in people's adulthood. Why is it strange to ask that? It's not. You might need to know. And I don't care if you think he the finest thing on earth. Have you ever been sexually abused? Has there anything traumatic ever happened in your life before we even take it to the next level? You don't know them, so why can't you ask? Sometimes people want to be talked to. Sometimes people want to share things, but it may be so suppressed. It's okay to, to go deep, with someone that you feel that you're getting into a relationship with, where y'all having comfortable conversations. It's okay. And she may want to share. There may be things that may trigger her. So let's be not be non-human, and let's be relative to emotions and feelings before we just jump out the window and oh, I love you, let's go marry off into the sunset. Sometimes we have to sit to the table and we have to dissect each other. It's okay. It's okay. um Abusive can also be just statements too. In healthy relationships, a disagreement or argument is okay. Even, even to, be in your own space and home. But when you're out in public, you might need to step away with that and say, honey, let me talk to you over here. You don't, oh, you just did in front of 20 people or the whole family reunion. Now y'all having a whole digress issue and an argument in front of everybody. That's not a healthy relationship. That's toxic. Verbal abuse relationships, that's what happens. They yell. And it doesn't matter who it is. You could be in the middle of the supermarket, aisle 5, and they will embarrass you. That's not okay. That's not a healthy relationship. You idiot, you stupid. That's not healthy. Those are verbal abusive statements. And so we just want to be mindful of others and patterns that, we may see or may be in ourselves, to know that, we're stepping into a danger zone. When you see it and you may be afraid to address it, then that just means just walk away, because that means you'll never address it. You'll continue to let the person string you along, and next thing you know, it's something totally different. Just walk away. I don't think this is the relationship I'm ready to go in. I'm just, I just want to, figure things out. Maybe, in the future, if we come cross paths, you could say anything. That's just it. We don't need to go any further. And if you're seeing it outside of someone else's, and you feel like you want to stay in your place and you don't want to get in people's business, then that's when you take it upon yourself to, reach out, because there are hotlines, helplines, and just say, hey, I'm noticing some changes, some emotions. I'm seeing some things physically in a friend or a family member. And I just wanted to bring it to someone so that I know what direction to go and help them from afar. It's okay. So that's what I have, sister. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
No, thank you. It was an honor having you and blessing the stage and telling them all those key points. Those were some gems, and I hope they got it. And if you didn't catch it, catch the replay. Well, I'm gonna go to commercial, and then we will make sure you tell them how to follow you. Oh. Tell them how to follow you and connect with you.
Okay. Yes, you can follow me on Facebook. That is Encounters to See or Not to See Facebook page. Also, Show You Right Facebook page. Also, Twitter, Show You Right 217. Also, Instagram, CT Authoress Willis, and The Real Show You Right 217 Instagram. Also, you can go to the websites, showyouright.online as well to purchase from the boutique. And also, you can go on Amazon and purchase Encounters to See or Not to See by C.T. Willis. Thank you.
Yes, I was gonna mention that. I'm like, y'all better go get her a copy. She got a new book out.
Thank you, sis. You always supporting.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm trying to get everybody else to buy the book.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, everybody, I thank y'all for joining. I am about to go to commercial, and we have one more speaker tonight.
Not anymore. Yes, I was a broken woman. Yes, I didn't love me. Yes, I decided to settle for what wasn't best for me. Yes, I was in a toxic relationship. Guess what? Not anymore. I have grown from the broken pieces. I have learned to love me when no one else loved me. I have learned that I will never settle for in my life or my peaceful atmosphere. I have learned the difference between love, lust of a good relationship. Yes, I wasn't perfect, but I learned to work on my mind, my body, and my soul connections. Yes, I have allowed the wrong spiritual around me. Now I've learned about the not allowing the negative energy around me. Yes, I've been down the road of destruction. Now I've learned how to not move by emotion, but by the spirit of my faith and purpose. Not anymore, my fears will not keep me from being a better version of me. Not anymore, my toxicness will stop me from loving myself or trusting others in my peaceful place. Not anymore, my lack of post-trauma is going to stop me from my future growth. Yes, not anymore. I know I'm powerful. I know I'm overcoming. I know I'm a positive. I know I'm loved. And yes, not anymore. I'm dope. Dedicated to other people's empowerment. I love my dopeness, and so should you.
Hello, hello. Thank you for tuning in to the I Speak conference, virtual conference. I thank y'all. And I have one more speaker, dynamic speaker for tonight. Mr. Frederick, it is an honor to have you in the building. I hope y'all ready. And make sure if you haven't shared, share it. And for those that's watching, make sure y'all share it to your friends and family too. Floor is yours. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Yeah, because I muted myself. Good grief.
Well, the floor is
Lord
yours.
have mercy.
I'm going back behind the scenes.
I got you. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, well, first of all, I want to thank Miss Sheena Gadon for having this amazing conference and also having such dynamic speakers here tonight or this evening. Um, I'm not going to be before you guys very long because I want to talk about domestic violence and men. And I want to talk about it because it really hasn't, because it's a subject that hasn't been talked about late, has been talked about. And before I go anywhere with that, I want to preface this with my own story. And I'm not going to bore anybody with any humongous or extraneous details. So I'll just put it in. I'll be brief. I'll just put it in it. I'll just paraphrase. So I'm a person that comes from both ends of the spectrum. What I mean by both ends of the spectrum, I was the abuser, and then I was the abused. And me being the abuser was only a one time thing, only a one time thing. But the effects of that were far reaching. And I was also abused as well. And the effects of that was far reaching. And like I said, I'm not going to get into any specifics about it because in some instances it's a very hard thing to talk about. So I'll just put it like this. With the part where me being an abuser, it was something that I did out of a lack of self-control, a lack of not managing my anger, and it put me in a bad space. Which I paid my penance for. The abuse part is what I want to talk about just a little bit more. And that's not to diminish me being the abuser, because like I said it before, so it was only a one-time thing. And for me, the lesson that was learned in that was tremendous. It also kind of put things in perspective for me and taught me a little bit about myself at that point. But I want to talk about the part where men get abused. So the other situation, or the other part of the other half of this, is I was in a emotionally, mentally, and at times a physically abusive relationship with a woman, and this was several years ago. And again, I'll be brief with this because I don't want to bore anybody with extraneous details. The relationship started fine. It started great at first. Then all of a sudden, some things went down and happened, and now all of a sudden, I'm being hit on, being smacked on, talked down to, and all kind of other things that happened, and it has an effect. And it wasn't until I left that situation that the effects of that became manifest. I fell into a deep depression. Tried to commit suicide. Thank God it wasn't successful. I was very, very wary and I was very wary about how I wanted to approach relationships with women. I didn't want to try to. So most or majority of my relationships for that time, during that process were purely sexual because I didn't want to wanted to be put into anything else. Wanted to put it in any other type of category. And I was very much trustful of people because the whole time I was going through this, everybody, the people that were closest to me, and I'm not gonna the people that were closest to me or the people that were closest to seeing what was going on, literally watched it and said nothing. They took no action. They said they were reticent. They were silent. They were radio silent on it. They saw this going on, and yet they didn't bother to say anything about it. They didn't bother to pull the person up under the rug and say, no, hey, look, that's wrong. You can't do that. So, and for me, going through the whole gamut of those things, a lot of the other things kind of just were manifest as well. I felt as if I felt that I wasn't a man. I felt that I was weak as a man. I felt that I wasn't strong enough as a man. I felt that I wasn't good enough as a man because I allowed this thing, because I made the choice to allow this to happen. Now, I don't blame the other. I don't blame the individual that did it, because at the end of the day, the choice was still mine to be in that relationship. So I don't blame her. I blame me primarily because it was my choice to engage in that, and also not taking the presence of mind to when you saw this and when you see signs to make a move or try to walk out of that the safest way that you can. But then, when you did all attempts to do that, where I'm held hostage by the simple fact of threats of like, well, I know you're on probation, so I got a hotline to your probation officer. I can have you locked up again if you do this and you do that. What are you to do? And I did feel like I was less than a man for letting that happen, letting that go the way that it went. And it affected me in a way to where certain aspects of me were questioned. I question myself as a man. I question myself as a human being. I question myself, am I strong? Am I really a man if I allow this to happen? Am I really a man if I put myself in this situation? And those are questions that I asked myself. Questions that didn't necessarily generate answers. But there was also a lot of frustration and a lot of anger there too. Angry at myself for allowing it to happen. Angry at myself for allowing it to continue to happen. Angry at myself for not being able to do anything about it. Angry at myself for not being able to properly defend myself or properly guard myself or guard myself against it. And it was crazy. It was a crazy thing, a very, very crazy thing. It wasn't until maybe, wow. And the reason I say that, and this happened well over 20 to 25 years ago. those effects still linger. There's something about telling that type of thing to somebody, and then you get looked at funny, or you're demonized, or you're ostracized, or you're oh, demonized, ostracized, and then just made to feel so inferior because somebody's going to say that you were too weak to deal with that. You wasn't strong enough to handle that in a way to where you could keep some semblance of your manhood. And the thing that I always ask people when they say that is, what would you do in that situation? Would you retaliate or fight back up if you were? Would you retaliate or fight back if you were under duress? Would you capitulate yourself to make sure that you don't either get talked down, or you don't get hit, or you aren't made to look like a fool? What would you do in that situation? And I know a lot of people say, well, if that was me, I wouldn't. If that was me in that situation, I wouldn't allow that to happen. Well, that statement is all well and good until it happens. That statement holds water for as long as it doesn't happen. And then when it happens, that statement doesn't hold water at all. Because when it happened, and now you become a victim. Now you become another statistic of the 830 some odd thousand men who have been in a domestic violence or intimate partner violence situation. And the sad part about it is that most men don't report it. I was one of those men who didn't report it. Why? Under duress, fear of reprisal, fear of being made to look weak, and somebody who doesn't have a spine. Nah, because that's literally what it was. That's literally what it was. That's literally what it was. That was my reality for quite some time. Why do we as men don't report things like that? Couple of reasons come to mind when we talk about that. Number one, law enforcement. Law enforcement mostly favors women when it comes to that, because a woman can have a bruise or a scratch on her, and the man can have a bruise or scratch on her. It's automatically assumed that the man was the one that caused the harm. So that's one thing. Law enforcement doesn't necessarily help men when it comes into that situation. Number two, resources that are available for men as far as domestic violence are either very much lacking, or they're non-existent. To my knowledge, and I'm not in this, and I can be corrected on this because this is just to my knowledge, and I can, like I said, I can be corrected on this. I don't know if there's any shelters that are just exclusively for men. Most of the resources that are allocated towards domestic violence are more geared toward women than there are men, or even anybody, or any lesbian, bisexual, gay, transgender, or queer relationship, or queer relationship people out too. There, these are two communities that are severely underserved. The third thing that I can think of is the image that it created, the negative image it creates for a man. There are men like myself who there are men out there like myself who can comfortably talk about their domestic violence situation, or their domestic violence situation, whether they were on one end of the spectrum or the other end of the spectrum. And then there are other men out there. There are other men out there like me. There are other men out there, me being a man, who don't who've experienced these things and don't and will not, cannot talk about it. They won't speak. They won't say a word about it because they think it makes them look weak. It makes them look less of a man. It makes them look like I'm not man enough to handle my own business and things of that nature. And that's literally not the case. And I mean, those are the three things that I can think of, you know. But on the but also on the pond, but I also want to speak to. I want to speak to that man that's right, that's watching this or viewing this, or that man that may be watching this on a replay, or who may end up listening to this on on a streaming platform, or other on an audio streaming platform. I want to talk to that. I want to talk to that man. I want to talk to you for just a moment, brother, my brother. I'm here to tell you that it's okay to talk about it. I'm here to tell you that it's okay to speak on it. I'm here to tell you that it's okay to allow yourself that moment of vulnerability to to speak about what happened to you, because holding it in and not saying anything about it has diminishing returns. It leads to things like suicide. It leads to things like, you know, suicide or attempted suicide. It leads to things like depression. It leads to things like anxiety. It leads to so many bad things, and there'll never be anything. And if someone tells you that there's never anything good to come out of you speaking about what you went through as far as a domestic violence situation, or even any situation for that matter, then you're dead. Then that person is mistaken, because there is good that can come out of that. I'm here to tell you, brother, that I'm here to tell you, brother, that you need to forgive yourself for that. You need to forgive yourself. You need to accept it as what happened. Forgive yourself. Heal yourself. And healing can come into so many shapes and forms. It can come in the form of self-care, meditation, speaking, speaking with, seeking help, seeking the guidance and the help of a licensed therapist or a mental health professional. Seeking joy in things such as being outside in nature, or doing something that just makes you feel good. I'm a strong believer and a purveyor of writing about it, journaling. It helps you get those emotions, those strong negative emotions out. You know, most importantly, you just forgive yourself, brother. We're all human, and we're all fallible. You have to understand that. You have to understand and accept that it happened, and it's okay to accept it. It's okay to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. What wouldn't be okay is if you don't forgive yourself, and if you don't accept it, and you don't move forward. There's there's joy on the other side of pain. There's sunshine on the other side of rain. Every cloud has a silver lining. It's up to you. It's up to you as a person, as a human, as a man, to determine where your end of the tunnel is, or when your storm will end, or when you're going to be able to see that silver lining, or when you're going to see those sun rays breaking out of those dark clouds. Because trust me, it is a dark cloud that hangs over you. It is a dark cloud that hangs over you as a man, and trust and believe. I know, because at times that dark cloud hangs over me, and I have to remind myself that I'm more than what I've been through. I'm more than just being being the abuser and being the abused. I'm more than that. I'm more than what someone determines me as. I'm not weak. I'm not weak. I'm not weak-minded. I'm not weak-willed. I'm not someone who went through all that. I'm a different person now than I was then. And trust me, these experiences change you, and they can change you for the good and for the bad. It's up to you. And the thing that I'm going to say is, for anybody who's been through a domestic violence situation, this is man or woman, but I'm mostly speaking to men. It's up to you to determine whether or not this situation is going to turn around for your good or for your bad. You have to make that determination. You have to put that in your mind state and in your brain, to determine, like, okay, this is not going to be the end all be all of who I am. This is not going to make me. It's not going to break me. It's not going to make me feel like. It's not going to make me feel like I'm less than a person. It's not going to make me feel like I don't have a voice. I don't or anything of that nature. Brothers, you have a voice. You have a voice. You have to. It's up to you to use it. It's up to you to utilize it. It's up to you to put that voice in play. And if you do decide to use that, voice, I will stand with you. I'll stand with you, shoulder to shoulder, arm in arm, back to back if we have to do that, if we have to. And this is the one thing that I think that is very, very important. So we have to be more accountable to each other as brothers and as sisters. We have to be more accountable to each other and more responsible for and to each other. So brother, if you decide that you want to speak out and tell your story, I'll stand with you. And I know a lot of people that will stand with you as well. My beautiful sister Machina Gadai here on this platform, she'll stand with you. There are so many people that I know that will stand with you. You just have to make the first step and say something and speak on it, because just as anyone else's story is important to be heard and to be seen and to be exalted and all these other things. Your story is just as important, and it's just as pertinent. We as men for so long have been conditioned to hide emotions, to hide feelings, to suppress feelings, to be stoic, and to be so stone faced. And the whole while we're being stoic and stone faced, we're being strong on the inside, we're being strong on the outside, but we are drowning in a torrential downpour of emotions on the inside. And that's not fair. It's not fair to you. It's not fair to you. It's definitely not fair to anybody, the people that love it, the people that really love and really care about you. Because they want to see you heal and whole as well. So, like I said before, if you want to speak your story, you won't be alone and stand. You won't be alone and stand with someone standing with you. I'll stand with you. And there are several people that I know and that I support will stand with you as well. So I just wanted to just talk about that. And I want to say, brothers, you're not alone. My brothers, my kings, my brothers and my kings, you're not alone. And you're not alone in this fight. You're not alone in this fight. You have more than one dog in the fight. All you have to do is tell us where to go. I most definitely appreciate Shayna for having me on this platform. It's always a pleasure to be here with her and to talk about something that's very important and near and dear to my heart. So, Shayna, I thank you so very much for having me here. And with that being said, that will wrap it up. I can't hear you, sweetheart.
Yeah, I did the mute thing too. Tell them how to find you.
All righty, so everybody can connect with me on social media. You can find me on Facebook at Frederick Beatty. You can also find me on Instagram at Mr_Beatty. If you guys want to connect to our podcast platform, it's also on Facebook at Trailblazers with a Z Radio, and it's also on Instagram at Trailblazers with a Z Radio. We're also on LinkedIn at Trailblazers Radio. If you guys want to check out our platform, it's on YouTube. Do me a favor, go like if you like what you see and hear, please like and subscribe. If you don't want to watch it on YouTube, we are also on all major streaming platforms. So please go check us out. We got a lot of things going on and we got a lot of things coming up. So I think you guys will enjoy that. And Sheena, again, thank you so much, sis, man. Bravo. Out the park.
Thank you. All right, guys. I am going to a commercial again, and we have one more finale wrap-up speaker tonight, and then we'll be back again on Monday. So hold on tight. Make sure y'all share with your friends.
Not anymore. Yes, I was a broken woman. Yes, I didn't love me. Yes, I decided to settle for what wasn't best for me. Yes, I was in a toxic relationship. Guess what? Not anymore. I have grown from the broken pieces. I have learned to love me. when no one else loved me. I have learned that I will never settle for in my life or my peaceful atmosphere. I have learned the difference between love, lust of a good relationship. Yes, I wasn't perfect, but I learned to work on my mind, my body, and my soul connections. Yes, I have allowed the wrong spiritual around me. Now I've learned about the not allowing the negative energy around me. Yes, I've been down the road of destruction. Now I've learned how to not move by emotion, but by the spirit of my faith and purpose. Not anymore, my fears will not keep me from being a better version of me. Not anymore, my toxicness will stop me from loving myself or trusting others in my peaceful place. Not anymore, my lack of post-trauma is going to stop me from my future growth. Yes, not anymore. I know I'm powerful. I know I'm overcoming. I know I'm a positive. I know I'm loved. And yes, not anymore. I'm dope. Dedicated to other people's empowerment. I love my dopeness and so should you.
All right, all right. We have our final speaker for tonight, and I hope y'all enjoyed yourselves. I hope y'all got those gems. I hope y'all are learning the red flags and understanding that, the only way to be able to stop it, we got to speak up. We got to stand together. So, long but not near, we are about to have hello, hello in the building. How are you?
Ashe, Ashe, how are you?
I am awesome. The floor is yours.
Well, hi, I'm Irvin Middleton Jr. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's evening, week, day has been going blessed, prosperous, healthy. This domestic violence fight, and it is a fight. It is a fight, and it needs to cease. It's got to stop. Against all. We cannot sit here and continue fighting each other because that's exactly what's going on. We're fighting each other. And I've been on both ends. I've been the abuser and the abusee. So I've seen both sides. And there's literally, it's control. It's about who's more powerful, who is more dominant and can use all that to dominate the other one. And that's not number one, how we was made. That's not what the creator meant for us when he created us. He created us as a family, not to be beating on each other, not to be casting each other down. And especially in the Black community, say, well, we talk like that, blah, blah. That's all well and good. But when the lights go out, feelings are involved. And unfortunately, like my brother said, we men, we've been taught, keep your emotions inside, handle that, which is a double standard because we come from a woman. So we're supposed to show our emotions. And that's all this is. It's a whole lot of emotions about ego. Well, my ego is bigger than your ego and I'm more powerful than you. And come on, man. That's love should not have a fist. I don't care how much y'all see eye to eye. Yeah, we do this and nah, come on, man. That's real talk. It's got to stop everywhere. Like it's seriously, we've got way more issues to deal with. We should not be dealing with, am I afraid of the one that is right next to me? I shouldn't be scared of the person I'm sleeping with, the person I'm in love with, the person that I've started a family with. I shouldn't be that's not cool. That is not cool. I did a poem on this because my wife has been going through this, and I did not know it was such a huge thing until I actually watched and seen. I've been in it, but to actually see on the other end was different. So I wrote this poem, and with the Queen's permission, I'd like to go ahead and render it to y'all. It is called A Survivor's Plight. Okay. And this may hit home. And actually, this probably will hit home to a lot of people, but this is how I see it, how literally it begins. I dialed 911 because I needed help. I told them it was detrimental to my health. I told them I have children that I'm trying to protect. I told them there's someone here trying to break my neck. Well, what are they wearing and where are you? Was what they asked. Like checking their clothing is what I wanted to do. I don't know what they have on. I'm trying to live my life. But this person is determined that if I leave, I die. Well, is there somewhere you can go so you don't have to be there? I just said they'd kill me if I disappear. Okay, there's no need to yell. We just need some information. Yes, I need to yell. It's the only way to let out this frustration. Okay, we're sending someone out. Can you stay on the phone? No, because I have to get to my children. They feel alone. Click. Officers get to the house. Is there a problem here? Yes, this person is harming me and bringing my children to tears and putting me in fear. Well, we don't see any type of harm. Is there really a reason to be alarmed? Yes, we need to leave to save our life. Officer, it's just a misunderstanding with my wife. We go through this all the time. Everything's just fine. Well, can we see the children to make sure they're all right? Sure, officer, they're right here, ready to say goodnight. Okay, there doesn't seem to be a problem here. You folks have a good night. Sir, please get us out of here or there will be another fight. This is a matter for the family courts. I'm sure they can settle this dispute. Now we're back in the house and I feel like such a fool. Now I got to swallow my tears and continue taking the beating because the police can't help. They want the courts to hold the meeting. But I can't afford a lawyer because they cost too much. But I tried to get help from anyone. No, and this person is very controlling and knows every penny I touch. But I try anyway to get help from everywhere. But people are so busy with their lives, it seems they don't care. I'm scared to leave. I've worked so hard to get on top. Plus, my children need their parent. When will the madness stop? But this isn't right to continue to suffer. I want to do right by my kids, so I'm the buffer. I talk to the courts and they say for the kids, we have to communicate. But don't y'all see that if we talk, that seals my fate? Don't you care that I'm being beaten and they don't even care if the kid's around? They're lying to you and you know it's true, but you love to see us suffer. It's funny to you. So when I've been strangled or shot to death, remember I came to you with my very last breath. I try to pray because they say God is real. But how can I pray when it's a punch to the stomach that I feel? I go to the police, but they have to see something wrong. And I go to the courts and they are all singing the same damn song. Well, no more. Damn the house that I worked hard for, because this fool done put his foot through the door. Forget about children's school, they can make friends elsewhere. Because it's my job to protect them, even if it's from those that's supposed to care. I can make minimum wage from anywhere else. I shouldn't have to run, but I can't fight with no help. Come on, kids, we're leaving right now. I don't know where. But we will be safer away from here. I promise you this here. No one will find us and you won't be harmed. I'll fight this battle from elsewhere. Now get in the car. You're nothing and no one will ever want you. You have no money, so what are you going to do? Scream! And that was called a survivor's plight. Because I watched people go through this. I watched as this was going on. And that's really the only way that I could really sum it up. Like, seriously, this thing is terrible. I've been on both ends. Listen, men, your women is you. You understand? We come from women. We put ourselves inside of them and then we come out of them. So to beat on them is to beat on you. Women, we are your kings. We come from you. You're in us. We literally in every sense of the word are one, especially my Black people. We are literally family on every sense of the word. I don't care where. We literally are one. So to beat you is to beat me. Period, point blank, plain and simple. We've got to do better. You're going to do better. I speak that into everybody, into the atmosphere, everywhere. Listen, you got to love. If you seem to have an issue or a problem, get it fixed. If you got an anger problem, get help. If you got to smoke some herb, if you got to burn some incense, if you got to ashe, whatever it is you got to do, don't let that that devil energy, don't let that inner you, the inner me, come out in reality and be the death of you or me. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Get this right. Get your mind right. Like, real talk. I know, because I dealt with it. I had anger issues. I was on both sides. I've seen it and I'm watching it, and it's going on every single day. And COVID taught us, like, oh my God, a lot of people don't like each other. Like, real talk. Bring out the truth. Tell each other, talk to each other. Listen, if I don't like you, you don't like me. Okay, what we gonna do about this? Because we can't keep the toxic shit up. Like, excuse me, I'm sorry. We can't keep this up. Real talk. You know, we say we want to actually fix this, but I did on my podcast, in order to be healed, it's got to be revealed. Talk. And if you can't talk right then, separate, go to your corners, come back later. Do whatever it is you got to do. If you have anger, if you have mental issues, because I know I did, and I still go through it, get help. Real talk. There's no excuse for not getting help. There's nothing wrong with therapy. And if you need a good therapist, I know one. She's bomb, diggity. Listen, get help. You got to talk to somebody. If you don't like meds, you ain't got to do meds. Drink some CBD tea, smoke your herb, whatever it is you got to do to calm yourself. So y'all come together, talk, and get it out. Because I guarantee you, if most of y'all talk, most of us actually use the communication skills and stop downing each other. As soon as your feelings come up, you're like, oh no, you got to stop it. We have to stop it. Real talk. Like, real talk. Stop. If your girl feels some type of way, find out why. Fix it. Why? We're natural healers and fixers. But you got to find out the problem. If you're the problem, find out what's going on inside of you. We as the kings have to look into each other and in the mirror, like Michael Jackson said, look at the man in the mirror. What are you doing? Fix you. While you're fixing you, I promise you, your queen is watching, okay? Fix you. And then go to her and find out. And I know it's hard because we've got this thing that, oh yeah, we're the head. Listen, we need to cancel all that. Because when you're in a relationship, I don't care if you're a heterosexual one, a bisexual one, a homosexual one, both of y'all are the head, period. Point blank. So cut out this, I'm the head. Shut the head front door. I'm sorry, I'm trying to work on my cussing, really am. Both of y'all the head. I don't care what kind of relationship you are, because you're all right here. There's nobody lower than the other. There's no such thing as the weaker vessel. You don't call the most powerful entities on the planet the weaker vessel. Stop it. Stop it right there, right now. Wrong. Okay? Period. Period, point blank. It starts there. It literally starts with you. Look in the mirror at yourself. Talk to yourself. I do it all the time, literally, and answer yourself. And people gonna call you crazy. Good. Because you know what? You got the answers within you already. You know that. So work on yourself. And I guess I didn't mean to really actually come like chastise, but shoot, it's like that. I don't sugarcoat. I don't sprinkle. I know we want it all happy-go-lucky. Yeah, then that's great. We can get to that level. But right now, listen, and it's been for a long time, we're dealing with stuff that you can't put sugar on top of sugar honey iced tea and still call it something delicious, because it's still sugar honey iced tea. Period. So that's what it is. Fix it. Real talk. Like, real talk. Don't cover it up. Don't sit there and throw Jesus at it and throw a Bible on it, expect it to go away. It's not how that works. That is not how that works. Even in the Bible, it says you have aught against your brother. Before you even come to God, fix it. And that's in every religion. I don't care where it is. Fix what you got first. Period. Fix it. Fast. Work on it. Because we have enough destruction on this planet without us destroying each other. And we can't keep pointing the finger, my black people, my ethnic people. We can't keep pointing our finger at the white man, because we have 3 more pointing right back at us. when we're sitting here doing this to our queens and our kings on this side, and we're looking at them going, oh my God, yeah, judge not lest you be judged. You understand? Yes, I'm gonna tell it like a TI is. It's tight, but it's right. I keep it 1,000 all the way. Period, point blank, plain and simple. You ain't gotta like it. I don't care. I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to share knowledge, wisdom, and understanding because we stood under it for too long. It's time we go inside and then understand exactly how. So, and that's what I got. I really don't know what else to say. Still can't hear you.
I was muted again. Can you tell them how to follow you?
Yes, you can follow me at Urban Middleton on Facebook, Healing Jelani Kosei Raekwon on YouTube and TikTok, and you can Google me, Urban Middleton. Google me, my book will come up, my career, everything. Just Google me and you'll find me. Trust you me, I'm everywhere.
I thank you. As always, it's been a blessing.
Ashe.
All right, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. I will be back on, I think that, yeah, Monday, October 10th. Thank y'all for joining us, and we will see y'all on Monday.